Creating a home presentation machine. So what is your role in ACN? And by the way, today is all about leadership training. So in my opinion, leadership means you're an executive team trainer, executive team leader, or higher. So let's figure out your role. What's your role? If you're not yet an ETT and you snuck in here today, what's your mission? What should your focus be? I want you to write this down. Don't sleep until you're ETT. Write that down. If you're an executive team trainer, what's your role? Well, here's what I want you to master. I want you to master fast qualifications, which is the 5-day rule, helping people qualify quickly. And master one-on-one presentations, sitting down with somebody, building a relationship, building rapport, and promoting for the next event. Now, if you're an executive team leader, what should your focus be, or higher? To master, I mean, obviously your goal is to achieve the higher positions. But in terms of mechanics, I'd like you to master these home presentations. And write that down. I will master home presentations. Let's compare this. Let's say that you have a meeting at your house and you invite a bunch of friends over to your house. Now, have your friends been to your house before? Yes. So is that a comfortable environment for them? It's a comfortable environment. And they show up at your home presentation, chances are they're going to know more than one person there, yes or no? Walls up or walls down? So, and by the way, there's not going to be 200 people at your house in theory, right? There's going to be 10 or 15 or 20 people at your house. Again, it's a comfortable environment. So, and you'll see it in the invitation process. If you invited 20 people to a hotel presentation versus 20 people to your house, people show up more where? At the home. 3 to 5 times as many people will even just show up at your home than will show up at a bigger meeting. So what's more efficient in general? Is it having somebody see ACN for the first time at a home presentation or a bigger meeting? Home. Now, what's the purpose of a big meeting? Second exposure, right? The purpose of the second exposure. The first exposure should be a one-on-one presentation or an in-home presentation, building the relationships, dropping the walls, and then promoting for the big event. If you get people from the small event to the big event, what is the probability they will sign up as long as they actually get in the seats at the big event on time? 80%. Write that down. 80%. So is the big meeting important? Super important. However, it's less efficient to invite people direct to the big meeting. Now, how about the one-on-one presentation? How about the one-on-one? Why not just invite everybody to one-on-one presentations? Exactly. Somebody said it takes a long time. And the time that it takes to do 2 one-on-one presentations, you could have a home presentation where you have 10 or 15 or 20. Which is more efficient? In-home presentations. So that's why, in my opinion, home presentations are so effective and efficient. Let's say that you went to your home presentation. You went to the very first time you took a look at ACN, and you're there, and there's 5 people at that home presentation. What message is being sent to your subconscious when you have your home presentation? Well, I want to have one of these, but I'm going to have how many people? 5 people. Because everything duplicates. What if you were in my shoes? I went to a home presentation on December 21st, 1996. There were 35 people there. And so what was I thinking? I was thinking, okay, I need to have 35 people in my home presentation. I ended up having 16 people in my home presentation. So everything ends up duplicating. If you can just get one home presentation together that has big numbers, then can that duplicate out if you do things efficiently? Yes or no? One of the things you've got to do in ACN is you've got to be a great coach. And write that down. I will be a great coach. Who's ever taught a 4 or 5, 6-year-old how to ride a bike with no training wheels? I mean, what if I did this with Tiffany? What if I had done this? What if I said, Tiffany, all right, here we go. We're going to learn how to ride a bike today, no training wheels, take off the training wheels. And I spend an hour with her explaining how to do it. I show her even maybe a video or two. I leave her with the bike, and I say, hey, good luck. I'm going to come home tonight. Tell me how it goes. Do not treat your business like that. You control the outcome. You are responsible for the outcome. So the first thing I'd like you to do when you have somebody brand new that joins the team is sit with them. Make 20 yeses, 20 yes calls. So 20 calls where somebody says yes, where you're right there. The first time they actually make a call after you role play, do you think that they're going to hack it sometimes? You think the language is going to be a little bit rough? But who's going to be right there to help them with the language? You are. The second time, are they going to do a little better? Third time, a little bit better. You're going to keep them to 2 to 3 minutes per invitation. You're going to go through everything that we cover in Saturday trainings on inviting. And the most important thing is you're going to be there with them. Let's say you sit there with Annetta and she gets 20 yes calls. How long does that take? We allot 2 hours. We allot 2 hours for 20 yes calls. I mean, these are 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but some people aren't going to be there. Some people aren't going to say yes, or they may have some issues. But we want 20 people who say yes for Monday night. So afterwards, after she's done with all the calls, I'm going to have a conversation with her. I'm going to say, hey, Annetta, before you have the event on Sunday night, I'd like you to email me a list of everybody that you got coming over. Everybody who has said yes, not maybes, but people who say, yes, I'm coming. And I'm going to do what's called a hello call. And let me show you how this works. And let's say that Al is somebody on Annetta's list. I say, Annetta, here's what I'm going to say to Al. I'm going to call up Al. I'm going to say, hey, Al, this is Brian Sachs. I'm with the company that Annetta was telling you about. And I'm just calling to say hello. I understand that we're going to be over at Annetta's house or actually tonight at 7:30. And I just wanted to call and say hi, and I look forward to meeting you. That's it. Who thinks that's pretty simple? What does that do for the new people who say, yes, I'm coming? And by the way, as a presenter, you make those calls before noon or 1 o'clock on the day of the event. So let's say that the home presentation's Monday evening, you make them Monday morning or during lunchtime. By the way, how long does a hello call take? 20 seconds, 30 seconds, that's it. So if you have 20 hello calls, that should take 10 to 15 minutes. Is that pretty simple? If you get an answering machine, what do you say? Hey, Al, this is Brian Sachs. I'm with the company that Annetta was telling you about. And just calling to say hello. I understand we're meeting tonight around 7:30, and I just wanted to say hi in advance, and I look forward to meeting you. What does that do? For Al, it drops the walls at the subconscious. And it makes Al feel more comfortable. It starts building the relationship. And then when Al comes to the event, what happens when he walks in? Oh, hey, that was a great call. Thank you very much. It was a really nice call. So super simple hello calls. When I'm talking to Annetta, I want her to feel comfortable with the process. I'm going to tell her it increases the chances that people show up by 50%. So instead of 20 yeses going to 10 people that show, 20 yeses are going to go to 15 people who show up. Who thinks that's pretty significant? All right. So let's talk about closing an in-home presentation. Man, there's so much to cover. I'm limited on time, but how do we close a presentation? First of all, an in-home presentation, tie or no tie? No tie. If you have a tie at an in-home presentation, what message does it send? Sell, 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 sell. And what happens at the subconscious? Walls up or walls down? Walls up. So there's a time to go full business attire, and that's at the bigger meetings where we have to actually promote a level of professionalism. However, smart casual is fine. Now, when you're giving the home presentation, are you standing up or are you sitting down? You're sitting down, and you're keeping it very casual. Why is that? Again, it brings people's walls down. When everybody's sitting around the lounge room, if you're at their level, what message does it send them at the subconscious? I am like you, and people like people who are like themselves. It makes things very relaxed. It brings the walls down. Who's understanding this as I go through this? Okay, great. All we want to do here in all of this is just get through those walls, bring the walls down so they can make a decision for themselves on whether or not they'd like to have a shot to get paid every time tens of thousands of people pay these bills. That make sense? All right. Okay. So how do we effectively close an in-home presentation? All right. So let's say that we have 12 people at the in-home presentation. So at the end of the in-home presentation, here's what I recommend doing. Well, first of all, I would talk to the host, I would talk to Annetta, and I would say, let's make sure that we have a place outside of the main room where people can go if they're signing up. Why is it important to do that? Well, we'll see here in a second. But here's how I close every in-home presentation. At the very end, I'll say, I'd like you to pick one of three categories. And let's say this is the home presentation right here. I'd like you to pick one of three categories. If you're category number 3, then the timing's not right for you. And if you're category number 3, just consider being a customer for Annetta. It would mean the world to her, and it would help her spend more time with her daughter and her family. If you're category number 2, you got questions. If you got questions, stick around. We'll answer a few of those questions. And if you're still category number 2, just make sure that you attend that event that I was telling you about on Tuesday night in Ormond. And if you're category number 1, welcome to the team. If you're category number 1, then just, after I ask, just follow Annetta on out, and we'll get you signed up immediately. We'll start going after all your dreams and goals. And so here's what I like to do. I'd like each of you to pick one of these 3, category 3, 2, or 1, just so that I can get an indication of how interested and or excited you are. And so once again, category number 3 is customer. Category number 2 is questions. Category number 1 is wanting to join the team. And what was your name? Dean? Dean, would you say you're category 3, 2, or 1? Category 2. What was your name? Brian, would you say you're 3, 2, or 1? 2? Great. Sean? 1. Welcome to the team. Give Sean a big round of applause. And it's Sean or John? John. And so, John, if you could just follow Annetta on out, that would be fantastic. And I'm actually going over here and shaking his hand. Welcome to the team. Everybody gives him a round of applause. So when I shake his hand, what does that do at the subconscious level when I shake his hand? It affirms his decision to him and to everybody else in the room. When he has a round of applause, does that do the same thing? Yes or no? So I wait until he and Annetta go out of the room. Now, why do I wait here? Because if somebody is super negative, which happens once in a while, one rotten apple can spoil the bunch. So we want to separate out the category number 1s with everybody else. And by the way, who do you pick first? Well, you've got and this is a lot of backtracked information, but you got your hello call list. You make notes on the hello call list. When you talk to people, you're rating people from 1 to 10 on how excited they are. When you talk to them, you can adjust the ratings. When you meet them before the actual home presentation, you're shaking hands, you get there early. You'll find out who the most interested people are. You ask Annetta, who's the most likely to sign up? And then during the event, what are you looking at? Body language. What if somebody's going like this? Right? What if somebody's leaning forward, writing down names? Is that good? So you get the ones out of the room. Annetta is signing up the ones. You spend all this time, maybe 10 to 15 minutes with the category twos, and you're actually answering some questions. And more importantly, you're promoting for the next event. And then after that 10 to 15 minutes, you switch up. So you as the presenter are out there working with the brand new people, helping them get started, and in all the category, Annetta's are the category twos, promoting for the next event. Raise your hand if you're following this. Simple stuff that increases the efficiency. What do leaders do immediately following a home presentation? Whose responsibility is it to close people? The presenters. Whose responsibility is it to follow up? The presenters. Whose responsibility is it to help get them qualified on the spot? The presenters. It's your responsibility. Here's what people who are not leaders do. They go to a home presentation, and they do the home presentation, and then within 20 minutes, they're out the door. Now, unless there's a pressing other presentation going on, or maybe it's a regional vice president or senior vice president that's doing a blitz, a whole bunch of presentations back to back to back, that's okay. But under all other circumstances, if you're going to take all the time to present, you need to strike while the iron is hot. So real leaders stick around after home presentations for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, doing what? Who says chit-chatting? Building relationships. Helping the new people acquire customers and helping them invite for their events. You can get so much done within that short little period of time afterwards. So let's see how this works. I say focus on quality of home presentations, not quantity. You hear some people who talk about doing 10 or 12 or 14 home presentations in a week. If you have 14 home presentations in a week, and there's only 4 people who show up at each, how many is that? That's 56 people who show up at home presentations. Is that a lot of work? Yes or no? Well, what if you do 4 home presentations where there's 15 people that show up? How many exposures is that? That's 60. So you're going to get more bang for your buck out of the 4 home presentations done efficiently, which means you help do the invitations, you do the hello calls, you stick around long enough to help people get started versus all of this craziness trying to do 10 or 12 or 14. It's not efficient. All you have to do is do 1 good home presentations where 15 people show up. Guarantee the outcome by doing those 20 calls with that new person. 15 people show up. Chances are 3 people will sign up either on the spot or as a result of the bigger meeting. Out of that, week number 2, focus on 2 in-home presentations doing the same thing. 6 IBOs sign up. Week number 3, 3 home presentations, 9 people sign up. So I would say this, as an ETL, focus on 3 home presentations a week. Don't focus on 5 or 8 or 10 or 12. Just 3, but do it efficiently. Team coordinator, week number 1, just do 1, just to get used to the process. Just to focus on the quality, 20 people who say yes. And doing everything the way that it can be done efficiently. Week number 2, 3 home presentations. Week number 3, 5 home presentations. That's 75 exposures in a week, 15 people join your team. At TC, if 60 people join, 50 people qualify in a month, is that pretty good income? Yes or no? Who says yes? Hey, and finally, what's your goal if you're an executive, team leader, or higher? What is your mission in life between this Sunday and the following Sunday? It's to have one home presentation done where you have 20 yes calls. You make the calls with your new person. 15 people show up. You do the hello calls. And then if you're ETL, you go 1 to 2 the next week, to 3 the next week. If you're TC, you go 1, 3, 5, and maintain, and the whole world will open up for you. Once again, it's an honor and privilege. Looking forward to a great weekend. Thank you very much.